Oh, did y'all see that? Chris kind of updated the intro. We got the Horseshoe Pride logo in there. Welcome back to another episode of a Horseshoe Pride podcast. We got your favorite blue crew, and it's actually all six of us tonight, which is good to see. Good to see all of you. Hi.
What's popping?
Hey.
Yeah. Justin's like, hey. All right, Chris, what you got for us tonight?
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna start off with Shaquille Leonard, man. Shaquille's back, figuratively and literally.
Literally.
So is there cause for concern about Shaq Leonard? I know we had some stuff come out the other day where Jim Irsay was talking about just taking it day by day with Shaq, and each day he's making a little bit of progress. But I mean, at this point in time, each day a little bit of progress doesn't get you to starting the season opener, in my opinion. So is there a cause for concern for Shaquille Leonard's back at this point? Yes. And if so, like, what level are you at? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at when it comes?
I'm at an 8.5. I'm at an 8.5 because I think it's more of a nagging injury than one of those injuries that'll be like career ending. Like, I remember, like, back in the day when Jonathan Ogden had the turf toe, it would just nag him forever. And he, eventually he did retire. But it's like, I don't know if any of y'all ever, like, pulled a muscle in y'all back. I had, like, strained back. Jesus. When you cough, it hurt. When you sneeze, it hurt. You turn the wrong way, it hurt. So he got to deal with that and still be elite, I don't, unless he's 100% recovered, I wouldn't even put him back out there, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. Please, can we learn that lesson, right? You got hit by that one. Hasn't been that long, right? Since we potentially rushed a star player back out in the field, and it didn't really pay a lot of dividends. So let's definitely not do that. To jump in here, I as well, I'll be a little bit lower. Give me a 7 on the concern scale, but it's for some of the same reasons. And it might not be the same injury, but help me out with the count here, guys. My issue or my fear is just I feel like we're borderline to where we can start calling Shaq, an oft injured player. Like, he's had a run of really bad luck, like that broken nose. Like, none of this is meant as slight to him. He's one of the most phenomenal defensive players there. He is a turnover machine. He's a football magnet. However, I do have some concern that injuries might continue to be a thing unless they just really give him the time and allow him to heal up 100%. And personally, I don't care how long that takes. I've been pretty open about where I think this Colts team is going this upcoming season. And I'm really excited about Shane Steichen year 2, I really am. I'm prepared for a rough ride this year, and I think maybe that might mean just letting Shaq stay off the field for a while if he's not ready to go. I don't know if this is the season to gamble and put a risk on his longevity. So here we go.
Oh my goodness! Oh, good Lord!
What's up, Undisputed?
What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
But I'll jump in and say I'm probably at 6. There is some concern, but I was just thinking about this would be a Chris Ballard special. Like, he's had a knack for drafting players with injury histories or players that continue to be injured while they're playing for the Colts. Tyquan Lewis comes to mind. Kwity Paye comes to mind. Now Shaquille Leonard, comes to mind. And I'm just naming this off the top of my head. But this would be right on brand. You have these players who are phenomenal talents. And yes, Shaq has been a force, since he's been with the Colts. And you would consider him, top linebacker in the league. But now it's starting to make me wonder, is it trending in that sort of, okay, it's just this odd trend with Chris Ballard in drafting defensive players. I think something that actually a Texans fan had mentioned to me some months ago. Mike had mentioned he was like, he had similar sort of back issues as Shaquille Leonard is going through. And he cautioned that, hey, he may not return back to who he who he is. And at first I kind of brushed him off because I'm like, man, it's Shaq Leonard. Like, if it's anybody, it's gonna be this dude. Like, he's got a motor out of this world. But the longer that it takes, the more I'm kind of like, it's possible. I've also dealt with back issues, so I know how bad that hurts, and that can take some time to heal, that sort of thing. But when it's a nerve issue, you want to be really, really careful with that. So I think they're being cautious, but this is one of those where I just like, hey, keep my antennas up.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm at this point because at first I was kind of optimistic about it, but like at this point it's like all right, it's a little too long to just be day by day. You're getting a little bit better day by day. Like at this point, it should be like, okay, we expect him by camp or we expect him by week one. At this, we're seeing like, all right, well, we might not see him to mid season. Like that's kind of where I feel like everything is flowing. And my dad has chronic pain. He has pain in his back, pain in his knees, and like all types of stuff. And like even with the pain in his back, all the like the vertebrae stuff, it's a constant issue, and it's nerve damage and a lot of other stuff. So, which and my dad's not an athlete, like he's not the athlete that Shaq is, that was in the military. So like his breakdown came from the military life, but I don't know, man. I'm concerned about it at this point. And then I'm especially concerned about it because we haven't really done anything to address the linebacking room. So it's like not only may we miss Shaq, we're going to be extremely thin at an already thin position. But yeah, Chip, Boom, what do y'all have to say about Shaq?
Um, I feel like last year we pretty much really rushed him back, and just with his slow pace right now, with coming back, it does give me a real legitimate area of concern because we remember we had Peyton, and he had that neck injury, and that kind of lingered, and with his back injury, he plays a position where he's always cracking people. He's out there making contact every play, and you really have to be considerate of not just what he's doing now, but his future. I mean, I feel like this: if he doesn't come back this season, I can honestly see him retiring next offseason. Because we're talking about technically him being out 2 years, and he just signed a big contract, and it's like he might be forced to retire, or the coach just might have to release him. Being out 2 years due to a back injury is just not something that you can play with, and I can see them just kind of not washing their hands with it, but just out of respect, just letting him know, hey, it might be time to hang it up. And if you want to continue playing, you can, but we can't have you playing for us with this risk of possibly not just ending your career, but changing your life, for the longevity of it. So yeah, I'm really concerned about Shaq, honestly.
I want to go to this real quick. It says the contract or the Shaq contract plus whatever JT is going to F us. To be honest, if Shaq is retiring or like if he's hurt, I don't know if the contract hurts us anymore. Like it kind of goes off the books, especially if he retires. Then we're not on the hook to pay him that
I
money.
think they give you like an injury settlement.
Yeah, we can give him like an injury settlement or something like that. Like kind of like what they did with Andrew Luck. Where they just in good. Well, no, I'm saying in good faith. It was
with
like,
Andrew,
hey,
they just gave him that.
well, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In good faith, they gave him like, hey, we'll give you your bonus or whatever it was that they gave him. And so I think that would be the same with Shaq. We're not going to be on the hook for the rest of the money, especially because I think if you look at Shaq's contract, hold on. If you look at his contract, even after this season, we're not really on the hook for that much money after this season, like where we can move on from him. Yeah, because the 2024 season, it's only an $8 million dead cap, so that contract does nothing for us, or it does nothing to us at this point. Now the JT contract, that's a different story, but the Shaq contract ain't gonna hurt us. Chip, what did you got to say about Shaq?
So I went back and looked at his injury history. I'm going to say right now I'm probably at 6 at a concern level, but that will ramp up really quickly if we don't get a real definite timetable by camp or the start of the season, and it still lingers on. That's going to go way up above 6. Right now, it's an injury that takes a long time to deal with nerve issues, and that's understandable. He definitely reminds me of Bob Sanders, where he doesn't have a history of a specific type of injury. It's just a bunch of different things because of the way that he plays, which of course we all love and love him for it. But it's a hazard of that style of play. And if he doesn't have a definite timetable really soon, then it's something we definitely need to be concerned about, and we definitely need to be thinking about all of these implications. What do we do at that spot? What do we do with his contract? Because his longevity, I think I agree with you guys. It's going to be at risk if we don't know something soon and he's not back healthy very soon.
Yeah, and I mean the contract thing, like I said, after this year, because he has this year plus I think 24, 25, and 26, but we're only on the hook for like after this season, we're only on the hook for $8 million after this season. So even after this season, like if we decide, okay, well, you're not getting any better, whether he tries to draw it out or not, like even if he doesn't retire, we can always just cut him, and all we're on the hook for is $8 million, which to me, $8 million in dead cap isn't bad at this point. Especially not because I mean right now it's at 27 million, so 27.7. So like, yeah, like I would rather take the 8 million than the 27.7. So I'm not too concerned about the contract issue. But yeah, I mean the back thing, I'm at like a 6 or 7 when it comes to his back, because it's just like, damn, man. Like
it may be 8 million next year, but if he doesn't play this year, then the other 19 million is effectively dead this year too. He's just on the roster.
Yeah, he's just on the roster. Yeah, that's gonna suck, man. Like if he can't return to form, especially because it started off with an ankle calf type issue, then they realized, oh man, okay, it's his back that's causing all the problems, and now we're just sitting here waiting, like what's gonna happen.
If I was him, I'd sit out this year, honestly.
I mean I would sit out this year too.
I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be mad, but you definitely know that's gonna turn on the noise for a lot of fans, right? Like they are going to start chirping about that.
All right, he'll just like all of those tweets, and he'll have bulletin board material for a whole year.
I mean, that's what it's gonna happen. But my point is, what I'm saying is that like fans are already like reeling from this past season, right? Like this is year 6 with Chris Ballard going into year 7. And if you start out the season with Shaq is not going to play, the pitchforks will come. I just want to put this out there before training camp gets here. I think fans will definitely start bringing up the pitchforks. Like, what is this? We don't like this. We need change now. It's got to happen.
If he honestly, if we end up signing a veteran linebacker, that's good enough notion that Shaq won't be ready for the season.
And I mean, and there's some out there, like as we was talking, I was just, looking what's going on. What really sucks is we let Bobby walk. Like that's trash. Especially,
they weren't gonna pay him.
Bobby
I know they wasn't gonna pay him.
They weren't gonna give him what the Giants gave him. There was
no, they weren't. They weren't. But I mean, you're already paying Shaq, so yeah, you're not gonna give another off-ball linebacker that much money. So I get it. I'm just saying it sucks in the grand scheme of things because we don't know what's going on with Shaq. But I mean, like I said, we still have there's some options out there where like you have Zach Cunningham, where's the other one? Anthony Barr. Like you have a couple linebackers out there that you could still sign. But like I said,
but
yeah, I can see that happening.
Let's say they don't sign a linebacker. What's your comfort level with this core?
Well, talking about with the linebacker, yeah,
like
core?
if you were to rate the current linebacker core without Shaq, One scale of 1 to
We-
10, like what you just gave us. What's your comfort level?
We
A
running a
four.
4-2-5 every game. Four down linemen, 2 backers, 5 DBs.
Where are we gonna get the DBs
Where are we getting
from?
5 DBs?
Hey, listen.
No, we
Hey.
got a lot of safeties.
I was about to say
Fair
we got a
enough.
shit ton of
We got a lot of
safeties. I don't know
safeties.
where we gonna get the
Just-
rest of the DBs from.
Just
but
run 8 defensive linemen.
Man,
I mean,
See,
you got a
this is
whole
why
bunch
we
of
need
rookie
53
corners.
DeForest Buckners. All right, Ballard was right all along. We just need 53 DeForest Buckners.
Listen, listen, we got enough DBs that now granted, they don't have a lot of experience. That's the issue. They don't have the experience. We have a lot of DBs. They just
And whose fault
don't
might
have the
that be?
experience. So, well, they're gonna get some experience this year. Like 4-2-5, here we come. That's hey, Gus,
You gonna learn today.
Real
we
early
gonna learn
this year.
today.
You gonna learn
Gus,
today.
we gonna
Yeah.
change some things up. 4-2-5. We got it.
At least
Hey,
AR is
listen,
gonna get a
you
lot of
think- You think
reps.
Kenny gonna be all pro again if he's gotta cover the whole field?
Who?
I said, do you think Kenny's gonna be a Pro Bowler again? Not all pro, but Pro Bowler again if he's got to cover the whole field.
He might. He just might.
Hey.
I mean, it's a good thing. We got Blackman back. It's a good thing that we got the young gun some experience last year. He was really good back there at safety for us. So maybe Nick Cross takes a step up. I hope.
I mean,
I-
there's some
He
options.
needs to. He
quick
needs
question
to.
though. Quick question. How would you guys feel if they kind of slightly changed it up to a 3-4?
I hate the 3-4.
Who-
Personally,
I don't think we
Who's
have
on
the
line in a
personnel.
3-4? So Buck and who else?
I'm about to say who else?
I mean, you could possibly do Buck and Quiddy.
At the
And-
end,
I don't think Quiddy would last at edge in a 3-4.
he would have to
Just-
probably play the
No. You know
linebacker.
what? Buck and Dale.
Yeah, you have to have
at
Dale
ends,
down there.
And Grove at
Grover?
the nose. But
I don't
Grover
think
maybe on the other
I don't
side.
think Grove can play that though, bro.
Now he can. I think Grove can play the nose. You got D-Buck on the outside, and then you have, or not outside, but defensive end.
Defensive
I'm
Yeah.
end.
concerned about Grover
double-
playing nose for the length of the season. Like I
Yeah.
think he can do it in
Yeah,
his spots,
yeah.
but that's
But I'm just
Buck's,
saying,
that's Buck's territory.
You got double A and Deo, and then you move Quiddy to outside backer. That could work, but
Oh, you got what's
you
his face
changing a-
too?
much.
My
you
brain
changing a
is,
whole scheme.
What about the dude
Ibukum.
that came from over from the 49ers?
49ers? Ibukum,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he can play outside backer. But I'm just saying, you changing a whole scheme, and Gus don't run a 3-4. Like, so it's a
Yeah.
lot of.
I mean, you can even make it look just an exotic look.
Yeah.
Where it's,
Yeah, you
it's
could.
a 4-3, but you can play it as a 3-4.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
asking
you
a
can
lot
make it.
of Gus.
I know we would have to draft for that, but I'm just saying, just slightly changing it up because I mean we don't have another outside linebacker.
I think that would be a lot to ask for though.
Yeah,
I mean, I think at this point, like you would either have to have somebody
and I
step
agree.
up.
We do need a vet corner.
Now that's a whole nother conversation. We could probably have a whole
Yeah.
nother podcast on that because I'll get on my soapbox about that. Listen, we need a whole episode just about that topic right there.
Just about
Like,
vet corners, man.
Just about
Man.
corner. But I think you would have to have somebody step up in that regard. Like, and I know that's asking a lot of your linebacker core. It's very similar, honestly, to the cornerback core, where you have very few people past the first two lines of depth that have played, particularly linebacker snaps. They've all played special teams. So yeah, it's gonna get real interesting if you got to test that depth.
Yeah,
It
you
was-
have people like EJ Speed that has played linebacker in like spells, but like it's mostly been
You got to be that main
special
guy
teams.
now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to be the main guy now. And then
Him and
who do we have?
Zaire, I think they'll be tough, but I do think they'll need that vet, to kind of
Yeah.
guide them and
We
things
got
like
Cameron McGrone in the middle and Segun Olubi. I don't know who the hell that is, but
that. Good name.
yeah, so so yeah, like linebacking core is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Like I said, also DBs. Like Rodney Thomas, man. That's what I was thinking about. Rodney Thomas.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
He
see.
got a lot of reps last year, and he was solid.
I did have a question. This is sorry.
What's up?
One last question. If Shaq doesn't play this season, do you think Zaire repeats his production from this past season because he broke Shaq's single season record for most tackles. That means he was all over the field, and I think they're going to have to ask him, to do that again. Can he repeat that sort of same production in your eyes?
I think he can.
I think
he can just for the simple fact that he's a leader on the defense now, and teams do have to account for him. I don't think they accounted for him as much as last year, but I still think he can put up that type of production, probably around the 150 range. Even though that's a slight drop off, I still feel like he can still make that production, and EJ Speed will clean up whatever else is on the back end.
Yeah, I do think it kind of depends on what kind of play we get from our middle backer because we did see Bobby make a lot of plays last year too. So he cleaned up a lot, and then you had Zaire come in and clean up some stuff as well. So I think it does matter what kind of middle backer play you got or like you have this season. But I think he can put up some numbers like close to what he did last year. Maybe not the same exact, but close to it. Because I think he's good, and he finally got his chance. So he's finally able to show all the things that he can do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back to this point later in one of our later segments today, but I think this defense is going to live and die on how the line plays and how well they can get to the quarterback.
Yeah,
I think
last
year going to rely
on
our line getting pressure on the quarterback. If not, our linebackers are going to get exposed, and our young secondary is going to get exposed.
Yeah, and last year I think we were top 10 in sacks. So if we can replicate that, which hopefully we can, but I don't know. It's a question mark. It's still a question mark because then, we still let go one of our best corners. We just traded him away for a 3rd round pick. Didn't replace anything.
He didn't want to be here.
To be honest, I get it because we knew what this season was going to hold. So you do him a solid. You send him to someone who could possibly contend and, let him go that way. But I don't know. Moving on to the next topic. So the fellas present sports rap. What's up? That's my boy C Henry. But he said, what's the timetable for AR to play? Does Minshew give Indy the best chance to win? What's your confidence level if either one started the season? Who wants to handle that first?
I can. Can you put that question back up so I can answer it? Yeah, there you go. Cool. I'll hop in. So this is a question we get asked a lot. I think for me, this is just my personal preference, and I've been saying this. I think it's probably plus or minus 6 weeks that you would see Anthony Richardson. I think at this juncture, obviously training camp will tell you a lot, but if you're not comfortable throwing, AR out there, put Minshew out there. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And I've said that plus or minus 6 weeks, like that would be about the timetable to give AR more time to learn, that sort of thing. And maybe you throw him in on some special packages if you so choose. But I think at this rate, like the Colts kind of have to say, okay, who gives us the best chance to win? One. And two, in the background, okay, what is AR's timetable? Jim Irsay talked about that on the Pat McAfee show. He said, well, he's got to play, right? He's got to play to get experience. But he also backed it up by saying, I will let Shane Steichen, give that call. So I think that's important that, Jim Irsay is, he wants to see his young QB play, but he's like, all right, I trust Shane to make the right decision. Where I always caution people is expectations. Everybody is like, oh, he's number 4 pick. Immediately start him. Like, let's go. Like, let's roll. And I'm like, breathe. He's still very raw. He still needs experience. He's still going to need time. And right now, Gardner Minshew, I feel like it would probably give you the best chance to win if you were to put Gardner out there, get you win for a couple of games. That being said, though, to Kev's point earlier, I'm here for the ups and downs. I know it's probably going to be a rough ride. I've got Colts at 6 games for the season as hey, winning. And I don't really expect much more than that. You won 4 games last year with a new alarm, Matt Ryan. So if you can squeak out 2 more wins, I think you're in good shape. Anything, past that in the 8 range is great. Like that's really good for what this team currently is. That's pretty good. If the Colts get to 10 wins or plus, like nobody talk to me for a while because I'm not gonna know what to do with myself.
I will be insufferable on Twitter.
I
probably won't be. I won't be that person, but I will.
I will.
Yes, I know you will. I know you will. I know you will, but my point being is that like if you are putting Anthony Richardson out there, I want you to temper your expectations, right? Like we want him to get those quick wins, and when I say quick wins, I don't necessarily mean an actual win, which that would be nice, but I mean confidence. Hey, can he get a rhythm? Can he establish a cadence with his wide receivers? Can he put some touch on the ball? Can he, go work through his progressions? Can he get better? Those are the things you want to see out of your young quarterback as the quick wins. And if those lead up to a win, great. But I'm not expecting that out of this team because there's still a whole lot of growth that needs to be done.
Yeah, and to your point, one of the things you mentioned was AR getting experience. And for me, like I think I'm different in this way where like I'm in the middle of the road. Like I'm on the fence because it's like I don't care if he starts week 1. I also don't care if we start Minshew week 1. Just like I don't care if we go let the young guns at DB start week 1 or we go get a vet. I mean, I would love to get a vet corner, but at the same time, it's like let them grow, let them get out there on the field and see what happens. Because you never know. Like that's the thing. You really just never know what's going to happen when they get out there live and the bullets really start flying, what they're going to do. Either you're going to nut up and you're going to go out there and do your job, or you're going to piss down your legs and we're going to be drafting next year again. Like it's either that. So I'm at the point where I don't care if AR starts because he does need the experience. And the best way to get the experience is to do the job, to actually do the job. That's what everybody says he needs because he didn't have a lot of experience in college. So the best way to get experience, you got to go out there and do the job. But at the same time, because it is a new offense, I'm cool with Gardner starting the first 5 or 6 weeks. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm on the fence where, to me, if we roll him out there week 1, all right, let's get it. Let's see what you got, young fella. But if Gardner starts week 1, I'm not upset with that either because he knows the offense. And granted, the offense for Gardner is probably going to look a lot different than the offense for AR because even when Gardner played for the Eagles, the offense with Jalen Hurts looked a lot different than the offense for Gardner Minshew. So while it may be the same coach and all of that other stuff, he's going to implement a totally different offense with the different quarterbacks. So I don't care if Gardner starts week 1. I don't care if AR starts week 1. Just put somebody out there. Let's see what we can do. I would prefer AR to start, but it's their call. They're gonna do what they want to do. It don't really matter to me.
I am team start AR, and I will say that with two caveats. One, that's assuming that our offensive line returns to form and they actually function to protect him, give him some time to get the experience. And two, part of the reason I'm going to go see the preseason game in Philadelphia, as I think he's going to get a lot of playing time there and hopefully get to see him in action and evaluate then. And maybe I changed my mind, but in a vacuum, I want to see him out there playing. The whole team's playing with house money this year. We don't have expectations for them. It's a young team. They all need to get out and grow. To your point, Chris, we have a lot of young and rookie offensive players who would be better off learning the system they're going to be running with AR in the long term. I'm not concerned with win today. I want to know what's going to make them more likely to win next year and then the subsequent years. And AR's going to go out there. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to take his lumps. But so did Peyton Manning. Now, AR is not Peyton Manning, who when you come into his rookie year, he was eventually going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Nobody has those expectations for AR, but still, he went out and played, and he got thumped. It was 3-13.
He
looked
took
horrible,
his lumps and then came back.
Yeah, he did. He came back the next year and was 13-3. He learned from that season. I want to see AR do the same thing. He's 20 years old and has started 13 games in college. He needs experience on the field. He needs to see the speed. I don't know that that's going to hinder everyone's growth. Undisputed.
That's what I was going to put up there because
they're going to play a different offense. They're going to play a different system with Minshew, which means they're not going to be playing the roles they'd be playing with AR. And I think that hinders their growth more if they play a half a season or a whole season under a completely different system, and then next year be expected to play the system that they'd be running with AR. So why don't they all learn together?
I mean, here's the thing, though. If you don't have, let's say you don't have Minshew, right? Let's say Minshew's not on the roster. who you throwing out there? You might as well throw AR
Sam
out there
Ellinger,
because, well, you're not going to
100%.
throw Sam
You
out
already
there.
know.
You're not going to throw Sam out there. They won't.
Yosemite Sam.
But
Yosemite
my
Sam, baby.
point being though is like plenty of teams have started rookies and dealt with the whatever the learning curve is. So that's always still a real possibility. That's why I want everyone to like realize is that like as much as I'm like, hey, give him time or whatever, like we could see him, week 6 or whatever. Cool, I'm good. They very much could come back and be like, hey, we believe in you. We trust you. We're gonna be here to support you. We're gonna take the waves with you. Like let's ride.
Yeah,
That
we're
could
gonna
very
ride the
much
wave with
happen.
you.
Like, you know what I mean? Like again, it very much could, and it would not shock anybody to see that.
The
I
best
just want people
teacher,
to think about that. Like, if you didn't have these options, like they were gonna throw AR out there. Like, yeah, might as well at this point.
the best teacher is experience. Like that's the best teacher. I mean, listen, some people they can learn on the clipboard. They can learn just watching film. They can learn just drawing up the plays. Some people they got to get out there and they actually got to run the plays. Like they actually have to do it. Like when I play ball, I could learn either way. I could go out there on the field and learn the plays, or we could draw the plays up on the whiteboard and I could learn the plays that way. I had teammates that they couldn't learn the plays that way. They had to actually go out there and play the game, or actually, in practice. That's how they learned the plays. So I mean, I get it. This thing with this season is it doesn't hinder anybody because this season, if you have the only way it hinders stuff is if you have expectations to win a Super Bowl or go to the playoffs or whatever.
I'm saying
I don't think Colts fans have those expectations.
No.
So who
I
does it
hope
really
you
hinder?
don't.
Because this
Hey,
team isn't ready to win anything right now.
We have firsthand recent experience with bad QB play hindering players. I'm pretty sure JT and MPJ would say they were hindered by the play of Matt Ryan last year.
Yeah. I mean, we say that all the time about MPJ, where it's like people try to give him grace because look at the quarterbacks he's played with over the past few years.
So to me, that's not a reason not to start AR if he's ready to be on the field.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that
if
the
he's
key
ready,
word
let him
is
play.
if he's ready. And I
Right.
think that they've said that too. Kev, were you gonna say something?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's kind of where I still lean towards Gardner. Well, I think we're kind of all in line here. I am not going to, kick a trash can if they decide to start the rookie week 1. I get it. I think Gardner Minshew was the security blanket sort of for this reason, so we could take our time. But with there being a shortened preseason now, right? There's only 3 weeks of preseason. I think we kind of saw that a little bit last year. I think teams will have adjusted to it. Last year, week 1 of the NFL was hard to watch for me. If it weren't for the fact that we hadn't seen the NFL in so long, that football was atrocious. Like that was really bad to watch. Those teams, to me, clearly still needed a tune-up. And now, because it's kind of compounded. They play their starters even less for lack of injury, which I completely understand. And then there's only 3 games. So almost no one is ready to play week 1. And so for those reasons, we have a new coach, a new system. He's not going to be the only rookie out there. I would kind of like to see a veteran quarterback with a lot of swagger, with a lot of charisma that other teams have gotten behind, who can just who's going to go out there and lose games, mind you, for the first 2 to 3 weeks. But he's going to have that team feeling like they can go out there and compete and maybe win. Like to me, Gardner Minshew is like he's been handed the torch from Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right. He's not gonna be that dude for anybody for a full season, but he can win you some games here and there, and he can make your team believe that they have a fighting chance early on in the season. I think that's all this young team needs. And then as soon as the rest of the team is comfortable in Steichen's offense, then I say, okay, yeah, let's put AR in. As soon as everybody else kind of knows what they're doing, then let's get him in and give him the whole rest of the season, no matter what happens. But I and maybe I'm being selfish here. Maybe it's just because I want 2 to 3 weeks of Uncle Rico. But that would be my ideal situation. I don't want 6 weeks. Nothing. I'll be very surprised if Irsay is patient enough to wait past week 4. No matter.
So here's the other thing to think about, and this just crossed my mind, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Colts have 4 divisional games in the first 6 or 7 games. So that's a tough gauntlet, right? Mm-hmm. Like right out the gate, you're playing Jacksonville, you play the Texans, you play Baltimore first 3 weeks. Like that's a tough gauntlet for a rookie to go into. So would not be upset if they come out and say, you know what? we're gonna let you play, but we're we'll ease you into it, sort of speak, or whatever else.
Yeah, like
Here's
give him
the-
some packages or something.
Yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. Is like packages would definitely make sense in this situation. But like I said, I would not be shocked if they came out and was like, yeah, you know what, Minshew gives us the best chance to roll. You know, AR's not ready or whatever the explanation is they give you, because yeah, that first 6 weeks to 7 weeks is pretty tough.
I think if the team around him, if the coaches are confident in the team around him, then they'll put him out there. If they're not confident, with how Alec is progressing, how Josh is progressing, whoever's going to start tight end, which I think we all kind of hope it's not Mo. How the offensive line is from training camp all the way to week 1.
Justin, you are cutting up today.
I think that's, to me, that'll be the precursor of him going out week 1 versus him going out week 4 or 5, something like that. Mm-hmm. The team around him got better.
I don't think any of us will be really that upset, regardless of what happens.
Yeah,
we have our opinions and what we want to see happen, but I don't think we're really going to, at the end of the day, we're not going to matter one way or the other. The one last point I would like to make on this is I think it's premature at this point, since none of us have seen him play in anything resembling a game circumstance, to say that he is ready or he is not ready. We don't know.
Yeah.
We hear some reports of what he's looked like in practice, but that doesn't tell us. So we're not going to know until we see him on the field whether he's ready or not.
Well, and even this training camp won't tell you that either, unfortunately. Like, I know everyone's going to hype the heck out of training camp, but you remember,
we won't know anything until preseason.
Training camp, Matt Ryan's lighting it up in training camp. Everyone's so excited.
Matt Ryan was the guy last year.
We won't know anything until preseason, because when we saw preseason, we saw offensive line getting their ass kicked the whole
from the first game.
From the first game.
No, hold on, wait. We didn't see the offensive line get their ass kicked. We saw Matt Pryor get his ass kicked. We saw Matt Pryor get his ass kicked.
Matt Pryor definitely got his ass kicked.
Down.
I
just want to say this right here to Undisputed real quick. I get what you're saying, let the offense get its flow, but don't you think that hinders something when you have the offense getting their flow with one quarterback and then you just throw in a completely different quarterback? Like, that hinders the offense's growth as well. So I mean,
timing and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, that hinders everything as well. So it's either you're gonna let the rookie grow with them, or you're just gonna go out there with Minshew and let's see what happens, right? Like, it's either one of those. And to be honest, whichever one happens, because I don't have expectations. My expectations for this year is to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, those are my expectations.
And Chris, can you throw that latest comment up? Because I want to know if he's talking about AR or Will Levis.
Oh, this one right here.
Oh, Lord.
Exactly.
Hey, Jack Locker 2.0. We don't want.
Chip,
hey,
please.
Man, they
please
just got D-Hop, so they on top of the world, bro. They just got D-Hop. They think they about to go.
Jack Locker 2.0. That is who Will Levis is. Let's just get that out the ballpark. The man got drafted in the second round. He can't even beat out the third round.
Listen, you've gotten boom started now.
Right.
Like come on, bro. He out there missing
Chip
passes.
literally was like, all right, drop, bye.
Tell that man go get some more mayo in his coffee. Go sit on the sideline. Like, all right, I'm good.
So like, with the offense, the offense being established, to be honest, with the offensive line that we're putting together, I would rather them get a feel for AR than for Minshew, because it's a different story when you have a dual threat quarterback and you have a quarterback that can be kind of mobile versus a dual threat quarterback. So I mean, the whole blocking schemes are different, and then the way the offensive line moves is different as well. So I don't know, man. Like I said, either one starting is cool with me. It is what it is, but like, because I don't have expectations for the season. I'm cooling.
I mean, I've been like this since the offseason, so I'm gonna continue to say it.
I'm gonna be honest. I know we're talking about it, but we all in our
Fletch
heart
said, "Oh, where is it?
That man is gonna start. AR is gonna start. So We good. Man, get that off the screen. Like, please, get out of it. Elite accuracy, what? For the fence? Like, come on, bro. Get out of here.
Oh,
Like,
Oh
oh my
man.
gosh. Oh
But
my
all right.
lord.
All right, moving on to the next topic. And I mean, it's a great segue because we talking about the offense, right? So now, what offensive group do we think excels into or excels this next season? Like, who do y'all see actually excelling
I can see
this season?
the tight end. I can see the tight end group excelling.
Yep.
That was my mind went.
Just with who we've added and possibly releasing. Not
Go
gonna
ahead, say his name. It's okay.
I like how you said that.
I was drinking right there. I was taking a drink. I was in a spit take on my camera.
But I can see the tight end group really excelling this season. You know, with just the young flow that we got going on with Kyle and Jelani. Hopefully, Ogletree comes back. Hopefully, he comes back and he's able to present that form that he had back in training camp. And then you got the rookie. What is it? Is it Ellison?
Will Mallory, I think.
Mallory. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey,
Mallory.
hold on.
I'm
Put some
sorry.
respect on my dog Mallory name. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was a late round
see
pick.
Kev?
I mean,
I
but
don't care.
still,
Put some respect on my dog's
man.
name.
I like the kid. He got some wheels on him. To be honest, he got some wheels on him. But I honestly feel like that young flow coming into the season, I think those guys is going to really mesh together and push each other to excel. So, and also, you know, if you're putting AR out there, the tight end group is definitely going to be somebody that he's going to be throwing to on a regular, you know, because they're going to have that middle of the field. So
I'm with you. I got the tight end group. Y'all know I've been president of the Jelani Woods Needs More Targets Club, especially because he's been outperforming a certain somebody who shall not be named.
Mo Ali Cox.
Yes. But you know, seriously, I think Jelani showed quite a bit, even in the limited, you know, space that he was utilized. If he was utilized consistently last year, you would have seen more coming from him. Especially that Kansas City game. I mean, Jelani's height in general is a literal mismatch for a lot of defenders. So I'm excited to see what they get out of him. If I had to go someone right underneath that, it's actually the wide receivers. So I really, really want to see what comes out of Alec Pierce in year 2, and Josh Downs. And Josh Downs reminds me of that height that once people figured out what TY could do, he reminds me of that. Like, he's a smaller body guy, but he's shifty. He plays much bigger than his size. He's got an amazing catch radius. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do there. The wide receivers have to find some sort of nice rhythm where all 3 to 4 of them, Isaiah McKenzie included, find some sort of cadence. Because I felt like last season it was either like one or nobody. Like, it was never a couple at a time. It was always like, oh, this is the Alec Pierce game. Oh, there's MPJ's one catch. Like, that's kind of how it felt like at times. So I want to see them kind of, complement each other very nicely and progress the offense.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit different than y'all, and I want to say this to Big Boy Hooper. We're gonna get to that we're gonna get to that a little bit later, but we definitely gonna answer that question. But I'm different than y'all. I'm gonna go to running back room. I think that's the room that excels this year. Just because I understand Steichen said, we're going to throw to score points and run to win the games and everything like that. But I think when you have a talent like JT, when you go and draft Evan Hall and you still have Zach Moss and, the other guys we have at running back right now, I think you have to utilize them, especially with a young quarterback. So, like, if they do decide to start AR, you can't just put the ball in his hands every game and have him go out there and be Justin Herbert. You got to have some semblance of a running game. And I think with JT hopefully being healthy this year, our running back room takes up, a big step forward again. Now I can get behind the tight end room, excelling this year because like Meg said, Jelani Woods needs some more targets. He should have got all the targets last year over Molly Cox. And I think, last episode I said I was hoping it was Mo that got caught gambling, but
Damn.
it was not. So that kind of sucked. But
Sir, sir, please,
Nah,
please.
I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. I don't want nobody to lose their job over something so minuscule as that. But it's just whatever gets Jelani Woods more targets is fine with me. But yeah, I can get behind that, but I really think the running back room excels this year because I think with a rookie quarterback, if he starts, and even with Gardner Minshew starting, you got to utilize your running backs, and you got to have a well balanced attack. We can't just go out there and throw the ball 50 times, especially with JT back there.
Well, y'all named all of the position groups. I'm gonna name the group that needs to improve the most for everybody else to improve. The offensive line. Without them, we've seen it can get ugly. I'm talking about Shanae ugly. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm still not big on Raymond. Raymond Ivy say his name. I think another year Q was dealing with a couple injuries. Kelly, Braden. I think, everybody pull it together this year and become a piece of what they were the year before, then I think we'll be all right. Everybody can flourish. The running backs can flourish. AR can flourish once he gets back in there, get some time. He can hit the tight ends, the wide receivers. He can bootleg, scramble, whatever you want to do. Just I think that's the most important group in my mind that needs to be on point. I don't think we're gonna win about 10 or more games, but I think our winning percentage will grow significantly larger with the offensive line being being what they once were.
Would agree.
For me, I'll jump in here and just say the one I'm most excited about, since we talked about everybody, I would say is receiver. I really like what we finally have, what feels like a nice blend to me. So we have Pierce, who's a nice deep ball guy who can go up and get the ball at the highest point. We've got Pittman, who to me has always just felt like that possession receiver, right? Like a solid, we've always talked about, he's a quality number 2, and now we have Downs working the slot as well as McKenzie. So it's really dependent on that offensive line and which quarterback we have playing, but that's the group I'm most excited about. We may not see it in the stat line. There may be some missed throws or even some guys open that don't get found and the ball never gets thrown, but I think as we look at the tape throughout the year, I think we're going to see a lot from this wide receiver group that is going to get me excited about the future.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And hold on, I'm going to put this up real quick. The offensive line. I mean,
I yield the rest of my time.
Oh my God.
But I mean, the offensive line, I think they have some plans for that. And as everybody knows, the offensive line got better when Saturday became the head coach. They kind of addressed some things with that. And I do think our offensive line, Matt Pryor was the main problem, the main culprit. But drafting like Freeland, I think Raymond takes a step, going forward and everything. But drafting like a Freeland, where it gives you some type of versatility on the offensive line to move, maybe Braden Smith down to right guard. You never know what's going to happen until we get into the season or preseason. But there's a lot that could be done. But yeah, go ahead, Chip and Boom. Who do y'all think excel this coming season?
All right,
yeah, I'm going to stick with the tight ends. I think they're a safety blanket, both for whoever's playing QB. Tight ends make a great safety blanket, and then also to help on the offensive line as they're getting their feet underneath them again. So I think they're going to have a big season.
Yep. Check. What you got next?
Yeah, so now we move over to the defensive side of the ball. What defensive group
Pass.
excels?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And I
I'll
want to go
hop
back to this.
in.
I
Oh,
just want to go back
was
to
there
this
a
question
comment?
real quick. Yeah, the
Okay. Yeah.
one. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It was the one on if we think who do we think starts Rush
Juju.
or Brents or Juju. Yeah, I think both of them start on the outside to be honest, because we don't
Um,
have anything else there.
I was just about to say, who, um, I, if you're talking about excels, if the keyword is excels, give me the D line.
Yeah,
Give me Buck, give me Grove all day. I would love to see what Ibukum brings as well. If Quiddy can stay healthy, then certainly, you look to see him continue on his production. The biggest thing I think that scares me is the health of Quiddy and the health of Taekwon Lewis being brought back again. Um, but I think it would be helpful if the line was consistent. I know I can always count on Buck and Grover to be disruptive, but that pressure doesn't always come from the edge. You hope that, you bring in Ibukum to replace, Yannick Ngagwe, that he's not going to have the numbers as big as Yannick in terms of sacks and things like that, but he's highly disruptive. So I think sometimes you don't necessarily take that, like you have to get to the quarterback, every time. But you can be highly disruptive and still make, a point. So that's all I got for our defense, because everything else gonna need some prayer.
I'm there with you, Meg, but I'm going to say specifically the ends. I think they're going to have a solid year. They're gonna keep getting to the quarterback, and they're going to take pressure off the rest of the defense.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
jump in there. I would say specifically our interior linemen. So our D tackles. Of course, you got Grove and D Buck. Then you got following them up. You'll have Taven and the rookie Double A.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, our guy Eric Johnson from the previous draft last year. So I think we got some quality depth there, because Taven, he's a former starter. So anytime you can have a former starter come off the bench and give your guy some spell, I mean that's always great. And you got Double A, who is what the 4-4-4-5 guy playing interior. I mean that sells itself. So it can constantly bring that pressure in the QB's face, play after play. Don't have to worry about guys taking plays off. We can just get them in, get them out, and constantly bring that pressure. But that those defensive ends is really going to be the selling point. If they can actually come in and actually create pressure on that outside, that's going to be the difference maker, and that'll be what helps our rookie defensive backs, on the back end. So I definitely can see our interior linemen excelling.
yeah. I think I'm gonna go with the defensive line as a whole. It finally seems like we may have some like legit depth at the defensive line position, or whether you look at defensive end, defensive tackle, it seems like we have some depth there. So Gus Bradley, he likes to rotate his linemen in and out to get fresh legs in there. And I do like the addition of Double A, where he can play the 3 tech, or you can possibly move him outside as well. Same with Deo. We saw Deo play some 3 tech last year, and we saw him also play, the defensive end position last year. So I like those. I like those moves for our defensive line. You bring in like a Taven Bryant, even though like I'm not really like yay about, but I mean it's a depth piece, so I mean it's cool. Um, but I think they, like I said, we were top 10 in sacks last year. I'm excited to see what Sampson can do as maybe a full time starter. At least that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. He's going to be the full time starter. You don't pay him like what 13 million a year to be a rotational guy. So he's better in the run game. And from the numbers last year, he was able to get pressure on the quarterback. Not too much, in the sack numbers, but he was able to get pressure on the quarterback, and he was able to stop the run last year. So I do like that from our defensive ends, especially with Quiddy too, because we know what he can do in the run game when Quiddy's healthy, when he's out there on the field. So I'm looking forward to that position group excelling. And I mean, it's hard because it's like our secondary is very young. I mean, like I said, we have Blackman back there. We got Rodney Thomas back there, who got a lot of experience last year at the safety positions. But when you look at our corners outside of Kenny Moore, it's not a lot of experience there. So I mean, it's hard to say any other position group outside of the defensive line is going to excel this year. I mean, I hope we get proven wrong, but like I said, it's kind of hard to say. Like, yeah, our DB room is going to be one of the top because I just can't see it. Now, maybe if we had Isaiah Rodgers and Stephon still, then I could be like, yeah, the DB room is going to be nice. We got a lot of depth. We got our 2 starters back. Like, it's going to be good. But yeah, defensive line for me.
I mean, nobody's excited about the corners. Come on now, guys. Like,
we don't know them.
You say we don't.
Nobody's excited. Nobody knows them.
I mean, I tried.
What's the
really
standard? If the standard is Brandon Fakerson, then yeah, the corners are going to excel.
Listen, we should have a moment of silence for Brandon Facyson.
There's no moment of silence for him. For
Chris,
no.
Chris
he had a moment of silence all season. He had a moment of silence all season. That's what he had.
It's not a moment of silence. It's a moment of Simon and Garfunkel. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
No, how about a moment of celebration? How about that? A moment of celebration.
I mean, I will say this. Chris no longer has to rant about him specifically. Now, he may still rant about the secondary, but it will not be about Brandon Facyson specifically.
Nah, it won't be about Brandon.
Honestly, I want to go back and look and see how many times you tweeted about him.
Oh, there's videos up. I didn't delete anything. There's videos and all of that. He was trash.
That's why I still don't pronounce his name correctly. Never bothered to learn it.
I don't understand why we went to the Raiders and thought we was gonna get a good DB from them. Like, what?
I think we can if we get Marcus Peters, we'll be all right.
And then they double back and got him.
Yeah.
I mean, they took it back.
Yeah, they brought him back, right? They brought him back.
Well, that's probably because they lost Rocky Scene, so they had to bring somebody back.
That'd have been funny if we got Rock back and they took back Brandon.
I mean, I did say that at one point. Like, hey, if you need somebody, hello, there's somebody available. But now I think he's with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Now we still got some more time left. So, Chip, I know you had something about some of our rookies not signing their contracts yet. And actually, no, my bad. Actually, my bad. We did have another one. It was what Colts players would you want to bring back?
Baby comeback is crazy.
Baby comeback. I forgot about that one, but yeah, what Colts players that we want to bring back?
Can I jump in here? Like,
come back.
This is. I would like to see Quentin Nelson come back because I don't know who this man is currently. I'm sorry to this man in my best Kiki Palmer voice. But I don't know who this version of this man is, but I want the Quentin Nelson that was going to throw a man down the field. I want the Quentin Nelson that was just mauling people, that would take somebody's head off for messing with his quarterback. Where are you, Quentin Nelson? I'm putting you on the side of the milk carton. Come back. I need to see you because the rest of the line is suffering. You cannot not be yourself. That's not how this works. This is not what we signed up for. I need you to come back.
I'm gonna go with two people. I'm gonna go with Cato Jr. I'm gonna go with Robert Mathis. I think if we had those two right now, we'll be good. We'll be all right on defense. The line will be good. Cato will be there. You know what I mean? We'll be all right.
I'm gonna go with Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I knew somebody
And
was gonna say it.
Oh,
Look at
Captain, my
Boom. Boom is
Captain.
stressed already.
Robert Mathis. Listen, I love that we got AR, right? I love it. But is Andrew Luck is Andrew Luck.
We
want
missed
that
out
whole
on. I
thing,
think
man.
we missed out on a chip, man, with Andrew.
We did, man.
Missed.
Andrew Luck is
I think
Andrew
we missed
Luck.
out on a chip, honestly.
We probably missed out on several because they didn't treat him right. But that's a whole nother podcast for a
Yeah,
whole
it was
nother day.
broken.
If he honestly, he was on a trajectory to go to a Super Bowl and win. Every year that he played in the beginning, it was first round, second round, AFC Championship.
Yeah, we was there.
We was going,
Hey,
and then
listen.
he got injured.
Mel Kiper,
Need-
remember that? He picked the Colts to win the Super Bowl a day before Andrew Luck retired. That's
He
I
said
blame
we
Mel.
need
I blame
Darius
Mel
back.
Kiper.
Yeah, he just
He
always
said we
cursed
need
at us.
Darius back because we don't know who Shaquille is.
Oh,
Sir. Sir.
oh.
Hey, I'm with him. I don't. Hey, since we've gotten Shaq,
We don't know who Shaquille is.
yeah, I don't. Hey, go get Darius. We need him to go get Darius, man. I'm with
So
you.
Mama
I think
named him Darius. I'm gonna call him Darius.
I think it's interesting that three of us went with pass rusher. We had Freeney and Mathis to pick between, and we all picked Mathis. And Freeney's a Hall of Famer, but I'm guessing you guys same thing. I went with Mathis because he was a Colts Ring of Honor guy. Colts through and through his whole career, and I think Freeney may have had more sacks, but I think Mathis has more of an impact on the locker room, on the team, on the field.
Yeah,
Mathis has the career record in strip sacks. He has that record. So, and I don't. That's a record I don't see nobody breaking. To be honest with you.
Well, he caused the Rosencopter, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, as much as I might, as Andrew Luck, might have been on a trajectory to win a Super Bowl. Give me the guy who won one and would have won two if it weren't for a one Hank basket, but that's not neither here nor there. Give me Peyton Manning, and on the defensive side, if we're grabbing two, you know what? Give me Gary Brackett as a little Shaq Leonard insurance. I'd feel a lot better about covering the middle of our defensive linebacking right there if we had that. So, I mean, hey, that worked out for us well with those two being the captains on each side. It worked well in the past. So, forgive my nostalgic heart, but that's where I'd go.
If you want my real answer outside of my Quentin Nelson rant, my real answer is actually Bob Sanders. Give me Bob Sanders back. I felt like the injuries just robbed the team.
Can we
robbed
put some
him.
kind of Harry Potter like
the Derrick Rose
on him
of the
too for the
NFL.
year?
Man, but Bob was a dog, a straight up dog, as Pat McAfee would say. But yeah, like I think you need that in your secondary. You're missing that. You have not seen that since. And
so small and strong like a cramp.
I mean, you said small and strong like a cramp.
Yeah.
I have never heard that. That's hilarious. But yeah, give me Bob.
Okay, I would take Bob on the defensive side, and I would take Reggie Wayne on the offensive side. Just for the fact that Reggie, I mean, he was basically, honestly, he was a number one, but he was like a 1B. And then Bob on that defensive side, because having that stalwart, on that back end, like, let's be real here. Like, I was watching the Super Bowl, and when he got through that hole and he cracked Cedric Benson in that hole and made him fumble, I was like, damn, like, we haven't had that in so long, so, and we really need that. We need something like that on the defense. We need that player. And I mean, Darius was that player, I thought
we had it with Laurent Landry. We had picked up Laurent Landry, the juice.
Oh my God, that was like one of the worst signs ever.
I thought he was gonna come through and be an enforcer. My man,
he was probably one of the worst tacklers I think I've ever seen in a Colts uniform, and that's saying a lot because it takes a lot to outdo Greg Toller.
Oh man,
no, not Greg.
Greg Toller was not. He was decent.
Gilbert.
He was cool. He was okay. He wasn't Brandon Faison.
I mean,
Yeah, he's the
I
worst tackle I've
mean,
seen in the coast.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's
I
close.
mean,
Hey,
Brandon,
Steelers
Brandon
too
might
were
have been
like,
the
yeah,
worst. Brandon
yeah.
might have been the worst.
Brandon,
I'd have seen him miss some tackles.
Man,
No.
he could miss. He
I don't
could miss
know.
a
I don't know though, because
made
between
business
Landry and
decisions.
Toller, like that's pretty high up on the list. I didn't even think Faison's probably at like number 3, but between Landry and Toller, like those are 1 and 2 for me.
So you would
I get
pick Faison over Garon Landry and Greg Toller.
No, I'm talking about in terms of tackling, like
Here.
in abilities to miss tackles.
Let's not leave Gilbert Gardner out of this discussion.
Shout out to yo.
Oh man.
Oh.
But if I had to pick somebody to come back, yeah, I mean, I guess I pick LaRon Landry, but
No, I would.
I'd rather Bob Sanders.
yeah, I would rather Bob Sanders in that scenario.
I'd
But
rather,
those are my 3. Yeah, give me LaRon.
On the offensive side, I'm a toss-up between Marcus Pollard and Dallas Clark. Because I wonder which one would work better in our current offense.
I think Dallas would.
Dallas.
Yeah. Dallas was versatile.
Yeah, Dallas would thrive in some sort of
He would
setup
thrive
currently.
in today's NFL, I believe.
Yeah, he definitely would.
Oh yeah.
So would Pollard, though. I don't know if any of you guys actually watched him play.
Pollard was a big guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pollard was that middle of the field guy. You know, he had
to
a
be
little
big,
bit of heat on him, but that Dallas was that man had 4.4 speed. You know,
Easy to sell me. That was the first Colts jersey I ever remember buying was Dallas Clark.
yeah.
Dallas was that dude, man.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all I had. Sorry we didn't get to the contract stuff tonight. Hopefully they sign.
Hopefully it'll be a non-issue by the time we meet again. If it is, it'll be our number one.
I mean, just point of clarity. Players who are not signed cannot be at training camp. They cannot practice with the team. So just do with that information what you will.
T-minus 9 days.
Yep, T-minus 9 days. So hopefully this is a non-issue next time we meet. Like I hope something gets announced soon because I haven't seen anything. So I hope something gets announced soon that 2 of our most important pieces are signed. But that's all I had. You know, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for all of the comments, whether we agreed or disagreed. You know, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, we're not arguing anything undisputed.
Where's RJ in the Titans?
You guys want somebody to get into space? Go get in the closet.
because I didn't care if Minshew or AR started this year. Like I'm not arguing that. I said what I said. But anyway, we thank you all for tuning in, whether we agreed or disagreed. I gotta go. Hope y'all have a good week.
For sure, baby.
The work week starts tomorrow. Not looking forward to it. Hope y'all have a good week.
I got PTO tomorrow.
Oh, that's why Justin's here tonight.
Yeah.
That's why he's here tonight. He was like, "Oh, PTO."
All right, y'all. Until next time, y'all be easy. Peace.
Saddle up and let's get on with this shit.
Giddy up, boom.